Let's go on an adventure deep into our minds, running with childlike curiosity, where there is no issue of time or money, appearances, perception. There is merely the world to explore. Schedule me for a lifelong tour. I found this poem by Caleb Azuma Nelson, and I want to thank him for reminding me that that life is made for adventure. The world is made for exploration. And schedule me for a lifelong tour, too. On this Flower Communion Sunday, it's good to remind ourselves and each other of the power and importance of curiosity. Flowers, if you think about it, are crying out for bees, wasps, moths, flies. They're all saying, me. Come over, you'll love it here. Come inside, we need one another. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and mysteries of this great gift, says Marjorie Montgomery in our chalice lighting today. And today's message is about the importance of celebration, the importance of adventure, the importance of curiosity, the importance of things that do not last, things that are part of the now. The now as represented by this spontaneous bouquet. Now I have precisely 2 houseplants at home, each with a gift. Thank you very much. And they're about as different as night and day. One's an orchid. When I got it, it had 4 flowers on a really long stalk. That was 2 months ago, and the flowers are still there. I think the plant is just waiting for a wasp to come by and have a visit. And since the plant is in my living room, there aren't many wasps available, so the flower just sits there looking pretty. The second one is a plant called Neomerica japonica, or the wing iris. Any of you have ever heard of Neomerica? Anyway, it's not native to this country, so all the native plant people I can know. But anyway, it looks like an iris plant, and it's got flat spray of leaves, and an iris-like flower shows up on the edge of one of the leaves. There's a single bloom, and it lasts only 6 hours. So if you're not home between about 11 o'clock in the morning and 5 in the afternoon, you miss it. You find a little spent flower lying on the table next to the plant. Neomerica japonica doesn't care if there are wasps or bees in the room. It just does its thing and then shows over. 2 flowers with very different attitudes. Maybe Neomerica is native to a part of the world that's full of bees, so it only takes a few hours. A show that's as brief as a flash mob of performance. You have to be at the right place at the right time to see it. The orchid is more willing to wait. As Caleb Nelson writes, but alas, I cannot lambast, for there is no right way or wrong way. You have yours, and I have mine. So I've become convinced that flowers are how plants throw a party. Sure, there's the commercial aspect of it all. Come inside, get some nectar, carry away some pollen, or leave some for my babies. But does that account for the full beauty of flowers? Could they be half as beautiful and still do the job? And it's really that they're beautiful to human beings. Because, well, especially plants in the wild, there's no evolutionary reason for them to be beautiful. They just are. Norbert Chopek was living in the middle of a miracle of sorts back in 1923 an adventure in nation building, meaning building, and a new way of being spiritual and religious. He was born in Bohemia, which was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and raised Catholic, but later became Baptist. Some of his political writings got him in trouble with the empire, and so he and his family fled to the United States. But in 1921, he moved back to Eastern Europe from northern New Jersey, actually Orange, New Jersey, where he'd become a Unitarian minister. He was now in the new nation of Czechoslovakia, in Prague, and he became the head of a Unitarian megachurch. Now, the standard Christian catechism of the time considered life to be temporary and evil, sort of time spent in heaven's waiting room. Churches were established structures with specific dogma and creeds. In the Czech Unitarian Church, everything was different. They were free of Austro-Hungary, and life, community, and the world seemed full of hope, exploration, and discovery. So when Čapek founded a new type of church, a Unitarian church, people came to it like bees to clover. And suddenly he was faced with a problem. Many had come out of other Christian churches where the ritual of the Eucharist, communion, was a powerful part of religious life. Čapek wanted a clean break from celebrating the final days of Jesus' life. He wanted a new ritual to go with a new religion. To create a meaningful ritual, the Unitarians needed to be creative. Now, ritual is a great thing. We tend to cook turkeys or turkeys or some such for Thanksgiving. We give gifts to each other at Christmas. In fact, in Japan, almost everybody gives gifts on Christmas, even though it's the gift-giving holiday. It doesn't have anything to do with religion per se. But it's a wonderful ritual. We blow out candles on our birthday. Why do we do that? But we do. And we engrave stone markers to remember those who have died. The Eucharist, also called communion, is a powerful Christian ritual, independent of its sacred aspects. It's a way of expressing membership in a church. First communions are a big thing. In the hospital, some of the Catholic patients brightened noticeably when they had the chance to receive communion from the priest at the hospital. Now, Norbert Čapek and his wife Maya could have had a sort of a communion, adapt the words somewhat, but the form was still one of the religion that they left, and one that most of their members had rejected. Instead, Reverend Čapek decided that this new thing should not come from a biblical source or a priestly ritual, but rather be a ritual of community, emphasizing equality in community, not power. And so, in our flower communion, flowers are representative of each person's creativity. Individuals freely place their flowers in the arrangement, which grows to become lovely. But the arrangement is not about the individual flowers, but about shared creativity, the creative energy of the community. And before we go, each of us will be invited to carry with us some of that shared creativity, the precious gift of this congregation, if you will, by taking a flower from the arrangement. Who brought the flower that you take? Who provided the creative spark in the program you enjoyed, the musical piece you listened to, words spoken, silence shared? Whose flower will you be carrying with you? The individuality doesn't matter. The bouquet is all of us, and each flower is part of the whole. I think Čapek was trying to teach a new understanding of faith community. It wasn't the temple model where individuals come and make sacrifices and perform ritual duties. It wasn't the refuge model where true believers huddled to protect a sacred flame against the wicked world. It was a community model where community was celebrated and diversity was valued. Take a look at this bouquet. It's not constructed according to any particular school of floral design. The color palette was not properly restricted to harmonious or complementary colors, but it has all shapes, all sizes, all hues, all tones, and vibrancies and smells and permanences, for that matter. They're all set together on our chalice table. And here we are, young and old, gay and straight, northerners and southerners, easterners and westerners, theists and atheists, those still opening up, and those who are a bit faded. These flowers are beautiful, and so are we. One translation of Paul's letter to the Corinthians says, "For there are these three things that endure, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love." He's telling the people in Corinth, what is left after you put away childish things and stop thinking like a child? For years I've read Paul and thought about my relationship to those good adult things. But today I'm questioning if the childish things are necessarily inferior. As Prim read earlier, let's go adventure deep into our minds, running with childlike curiosity. But this is not what they say. Instead they say, play it safe, or settle down, or find a routine, to which I scream back, where is your sense of adventure? When did you lose your spontaneous spark? When did you lose your will to love, to learn, to live? When did you decide that mediocrity was safer than the extraordinary? Was it you who reminded me to dream big? To take action, to take risks for the great reward? What if childish things are actually the good part? And faith, hope, and love are facets of endurance rather than truly living. So on this beautiful Sunday that is nourishing flowers throughout southern New Jersey, we are exploring the theme of curiosity. And I ask, should we put away childish things? Do we play it safe or dream big? The words of Paul and the words of Caleb Azuma Nelson. Which are the right ones to listen to? Which ones sound like Jesus when he is reported to have said, "Consider the lilies of the field, they neither cart nor spin, yet Solomon in all his glory was never dressed like one of these"? When did religion become about endurance? When did it cease being about celebration and turn into orthodoxy and control? Nelson's right when he says, "I cannot lambaste, for there is no right way or wrong way. You have yours, and I have mine." For some of us, life is just plain too wild, too unsettled, and community must supply the enduring things, provide serenity and rest, the calm and enduring beauty of an orchid. The voice that we hear from Caleb Azuma Nelson is young. He's in his 20s. and I imagine him on a mountain bike, ready to zoom off and discover at a moment's notice, showing up for some flash mob celebration, experiencing that moment. And that's beautiful. Norbert Čapek runs a Unitarian church in the first days of this new nation, Czechoslovakia. Everything is buzzing. Everything is important and full of life. The Čapeks want to find a way to celebrate, and so they create the flower communion. And yet, Čapek could see it coming. He could read the reports of the rise of fascist groups in Germany, the much more powerful and populous neighbor of Czechoslovakia. Perhaps the more adult thing for him to do would have been to create a church based on fear and self-protection. But he chose celebration. He chose a liturgy full of hope. He chose to see the beauty, the joy of now. In the 1930s, a neo-Orthodox theologian named Reinhold Niebuhr criticizes religious liberalism for being out of touch with evil. He said liberals assumed that everyone was basically good, and yes, he was right, that was true of some liberals. Before World War II, some people said, well, Hitler has his good points, and they ignored the bad. Neville Chamberlain, the British Prime Minister at that point, is, I think, the only thing he's remembered for is his complete misassessment of Hitler. Yes, Reinhold Niebuhr is right. There is evil in this world. That's the awareness, but what is the reaction? Niebuhr's criticism of humanism and Unitarianism and Universalism and Quakerism came from the safety of a professorship in New York City. Čapek's Liturgy of Hope came from Prague. What do you do when your people are defenseless? When you know your country will be destroyed by evil? Do you preach about evil or do you preach about hope? A late 20th century theologian and writer, Jim Wallace, says, there's a difference between optimism and hope. Hope is not a feeling or a mood or a personality type. Hope is a decision to hope when things don't look possible. As I read that, you don't have hope. Instead, you live hope. And that's what the Czech Unitarians did. They decided to live hope. Today, we're reenacting this old Unitarian ritual. So let's ask us the same questions. We've known forever, we've known for almost everybody's full lifetime, that there are destructive nuclear weapons aimed at us, that we aim at other people. And yet we're not paralyzed by this potential destruction, but live hope. Our world has unsustainable energy use, which will modify coastlines, displace populations. The authority to change this does not lie in our hands. The path is not clear, and yet we live hope. We may strive for reformation of our energy policies, preventing the wealthy from exploiting and deluding the poor and powerless, but we need not be paralyzed by failures and setbacks. In our hour of defeat, we share encouragement so that we might endure and stand again. We see that we've created a legal system that does evil things. It's a system that allows for the exploitation and even enslavement of persons without current visas. There's a system that has disenfranchised whole segments of society through the process called the New Jim Crow. The way forward on these is not clear at all. We live in hope. And on so many more areas where our world has accommodated we say our piece, stay engaged, and live hope. That's half of the formula for faith, for hope is part of endurance. Keep hope alive, says Reverend Jesse Jackson. And only the truly strong can carry on alone. So I say it's time for flowers. Flowers are how plants throw a party. Flowers are not made to last forever. Someday even my orchid blooms will fall off. But while they are with us, what joy they bring. What wonder they evoke. Beauty, wonder, curiosity, joy, these are childish things, sacred, childish things. And today, we celebrate them. Today, we will give them as gift to each other. For I've changed the ritual just a little bit today. Instead of picking a flower for yourself, you will pick it for someone else and hand it to them saying, may you be blessed with joy, or if you prefer, may you be blessed with love, or with curiosity, or wonder. And in this way, we sanctify, yes,